Imagine waking up one day and realizing that your life has been exactly the same for years. Same routines, same problems, same limitations, as if you were stuck in an endless cycle of repetition. And the worst part, you know that you have enormous potential within you, but something always stops you from taking the next step. You feel that you were born for something greater, that there is a calling within you. But with each attempt to change, life seems to pull you back to mediocrity. Now, imagine that there is a way to break this cycle, to completely disappear from the ordinary version of yourself and be reborn into an extraordinary life. I'm not talking about running away or giving up, but rather about a transformation so profound that when you come back, no one will recognize you. And more importantly, you will recognize yourself. In this video, we will delve into the powerful philosophy of personal transformation based on psychological, philosophical, and strategic principles. You will understand why so many people spend their entire lives stuck in ordinary patterns and never reach their true potential. We're going to reveal the 3 fundamental steps to disappearing from mediocrity and emerging as a completely new version of yourself, stronger, smarter, more confident, and completely aligned with your purpose. But be warned, this is no ordinary motivational video. What we're going to talk about here may be uncomfortable. It may make you question everything you believe about yourself. But if you really want real and lasting change, you need to stick around until the end, because today could be the day you finally wake up to who you were born to be. Now, answer me this. Are you ready to disappear from ordinary life and be reborn into something greater? If you truly want to change, the first thing you need to understand is that you cannot build a new life on top of the rubble of your old identity. This means that any attempt at true evolution requires a complete break with everything that has kept you stuck. Most people fail at this process because they try to change without actually letting go of what is holding them back. They believe that they can grow by keeping the same relationships, the same habits, the same distractions. But here's the brutal truth. Either you eliminate everything that is holding you back, or you will inevitably be dragged back into mediocrity. This is the first step to disappearing from your old life and being reborn into something greater, making a radical break. This means identifying and eliminating anything that is holding you back, and as painful as it may be, this decision is non-negotiable. You need to cut off all the ties that hold you back at the root. There is no middle ground. Think about your relationships. Who are the people around you? Are they encouraging you to grow, or are they undermining your confidence? Are they inspiring you, or are they draining your energy? The problem is that we often cling to relationships that, deep down, we know are toxic. We accept criticism disguised as concern, advice that makes us doubt ourselves, the company of people who don't want to evolve and, therefore, don't support seeing anyone around them progress. These ties need to be cut. Then, enjoy your environment. Where do you spend most of your time? Does your physical space reflect the elevation of the version of who you want to become? Or does it reinforce your fears, your insecurities, your limitations? The environment that surrounds you has a huge impact on your mind. If you live in the midst of chaos, it will be difficult to find clarity. If you are surrounded by negative stimuli, it will be almost impossible to maintain a positive mindset. You need to transform your environment into a place that favors your growth. Now, look at your habits. What behaviors do you repeat every day that keep you from achieving your potential? Destructive habits may seem harmless at first, but they are like anchors that keep you stuck in the same place. The time you waste on distractions, the content you consume, the automatic actions you take without thinking, all of this shapes your identity. If you want to change, you need to eliminate the habits that anesthetize you and replace them with behaviors that build your new version. This radical change is not easy. It requires courage. It requires sacrifice, but it is necessary. You cannot continue carrying unnecessary weight and expect to soar. And here's the secret. The harder it is to let go of something, the more likely it is that it is preventing you from growing. Practical action. Take a piece of paper right now and write down 3 things that you know are holding you back. People, habits, distractions. Look at this list and make a choice. Something specific will be removed immediately, because every day you wait is one more day you spend in the prison of mediocrity. Now that you have cut off everything that held you back, a new challenge arises before you. A moment that few people talk about, but which is crucial for your transformation. This is where most people fail. This is the shadow period. This phase happens right after you have made a radical cut. You have eliminated ties, freed yourself from negative influences and broken old habits. But now, instead of feeling free, you feel a deep emptiness. And this is exactly where many give up. Why? Because this period is brutal. You will no longer have the distractions of the past to numb you. Your old identity is disappearing, but the new one has not yet fully emerged. You find yourself in the middle of nowhere, with no clear references, no security, no guarantees. And the worst part, you will have no support. Friends, family, and colleagues will question your choices. They don't understand what you are doing, and deep down, they want you to go back to who you were. Not because they are bad, but because your growth scares them. They also have their own fears and insecurities. And seeing you change makes them have to face their own limitations. That's why I'm going to try to pull you back, even if it's deliberately. Phrases like "you're overreacting," "this won't work," "why don't you go back to the way you were before," will come up constantly. And if you're not prepared, you might end up giving in. In addition to external pressure, your own mind will become your biggest enemy. Fear will whisper that you should go back to the comfort of the familiar. Uncertainty will make you doubt your decisions. You'll feel lost, disoriented, and without ground. But here's the most important truth. This feeling of emptiness is proof that you're on the right path. The shadow period is not the end. It's a transition. It's the space between the death of your old self and the birth of the new. It's like every birth. It's painful, uncertain, and uncomfortable. But it's precisely this discomfort that proves that the transformation is happening. When everything seems chaotic, when you feel more lost than ever, know that this is the moment when most people give up. But you will not give up to survive this phase. You need to understand that silence and solitude are not enemies. They are allies. You need to get away from the noise of the world to hear your own voice. You need to learn to be alone without feeling lost. You need to trust the process, even if you don't see immediate results. And above all, you need to reprogram your mind daily so that you don't return to the previous state. Here is your practical action. Choose an invisible mentor. It could be a book, an author, a philosopher, someone whose attention and story can serve as a beacon during this phase. Read, listen, absorb this new identity. Feed your mind with thoughts that strengthen your transformation. What you consume now defines who you will become. This is the shadow period. It may seem scary, but it is necessary, and if you keep moving forward, you will soon realize that it was the best thing that ever happened in your life. Because this is where true change happens. Now we come to the most important moment, your rebirth. If you have gone through the radical cut and survived the shadow period, you are already a different person. But now is the time to consolidate this transformation, and this requires a relentless mindset. Successful people have one thing in common. They never back down. When they decide something, burn their bridges, leave no room for excuses or setbacks. They build a new identity based on discipline, clarity, and execution. You need to do the same. Define your new identity. Who is this new version of you? How does it think? How old is it? What does it tolerate and what does it reject? Create sacred rituals, routines that reinforce your new mindset and prevent your old version from returning. Become a non-negotiable discipline. Emotions are fleeting, but your new identity needs to be sustained by consistent action, even when you are not motivated. The biggest mistake you can make is to think that the transformation happens once and for all. No, it needs to be reinforced every day, because the world will test you. He will try to pull you back, but if you really want the bridges, there is no turning back. You need to understand that the identity you want to adopt is supported by daily habits and rituals. It is not enough to simply make a decision. You need to solidify attitudes that reinforce your new way of being. Your actions need to be consistent with this new identity, regardless of how you feel at any given moment. The truth is that motivation fluctuates, but discipline must be fixed. The new version of you requires consistency. Imagine that you are creating a sculpture each day. You shape it a little more. Sometimes the progress is noticeable, other times it seems almost invisible. But if you maintain consistency, there will come a time when the transformation will be undeniable. The problem is that most people give up before they see the results. They stop halfway through because they do not notice the subtle progress that is happening. So make a long-term commitment to your new identity. It's not just about deciding who you want to be, but about proving to yourself, day after day, that you have truly become that person. Every choice you make is a vote to strengthen your new self. If you choose to return to old habits, you are voting against your own evolution. But if you maintain the habits that move you forward, you are reaffirming your commitment to this new life. Practical action today. Make a definitive decision, not an intention, a real decision, something that sets you on a path of no return, something that signals to you and to the world that your new identity has been born. It could be a public commitment, a drastic change in your routine, or a bold new goal, but it should be something that prevents you from going back, because as of today, your old self is officially dead. You don't have to accept an ordinary life. You weren't born to be just another person. Within you lies an immense potential, a strength that may have been stifled by years of doubts, fears, and limitations imposed by a system that wants you to remain just another cog in the machine. But now, you have a choice. You can continue living exactly as you are, repeating the same patterns, feeling the same frustration, wondering how long this feeling of stagnation will last. Or you can make a decision today, a decision that will change everything. If you've come this far, it's because something inside you already knows the truth. You are not destined for mediocrity. You feel it. You know there's something greater waiting for you, but no one is going to give it to you as a gift. You need to become the person capable of achieving the life you want, and that means leaving your old self behind, without looking back, without hesitating, without making excuses. The life you want requires a new identity. People who achieve extraordinary levels of success are not made by luck. They are forged. They burn your weaknesses, turn your fears into fuel, destroy your limitations, and refuse to return to your old selves. And that is the choice before you. Now, to continue or to transform, to accept or to challenge, to survive or to be reborn. If you are still waiting for a sign, for a push, for a perfect moment to change, know this: the perfect moment will never come. Time will not wait for you. Either you act now, or you will continue to watch the days pass without any real change. Every minute you hesitate is one more minute you spend away from the life you deserve. Imagine 5 years from now. Where do you want to be? How do you want to feel? What kind of life do you want to lead? Now imagine that if you do nothing, absolutely nothing will change. You will still be the same person with the same problems, the same fears, the same excuses. Does that scare you? It should, because the only way to avoid that fate is to act now. Transformation is not something that happens only in a moment of epiphany. It is a daily commitment. It's being willing to face discomfort, to deal with temporary failures, to hold on when everything inside you wants to give up. It's understanding that the pain of change is temporary, but the pain of regret lasts forever. There are no shortcuts. There is no magic. There is no one coming to save you. You are the only one responsible for your life. You may have been born into a difficult environment. You may have faced challenges that others could never imagine. But the truth is this: no one can change your life for you. If you don't make that decision now, no one will. Mediocrity is comfortable. It's easy. It's safe. But it's also a prison, and if you stay in it, you'll never know what could have been. You'll never taste true freedom. You'll never experience the grandeur of living to your fullest potential. Now, answer me this: are you ready to step out of your old life and emerge as a ruthless version of yourself? Are you ready to do whatever it takes to step out of mediocrity and into your true power? If your answer is yes, it's not enough to just think. You need to take action. Write in the comments right now: I am ready. Declare it to the world. Declare it to yourself, because your new life begins now, not tomorrow, not next Monday. Now the time for waiting is over. The time for action has come. The choice is yours. And remember, every day that passes without action is a day lost, a day you will never get back. So what will it be? Stay stuck in the same cycle or finally break free? The decision is in your hands. Make it count.